I came to the realization that I don't think we will ever get a free speech platform on the internet. And by free speech, I'm going to even lower the definition of what it is. Like, I'm going to go even below what the Supreme Court of the United States consider it. And I will even admit, okay, a platform where insults and slurs are banned, but if you have a political take, if you have a political opinion about something, it should be allowed to exist. And I came to the realization that even that platform is never going to happen. And the reason for this is that every single time I see it put to the test, it always works like this. Like you will have a platform that's very small, probably something like Parler used to be, and you actually have free speech there. Like you can actually go there and you can share various opinions with no problem. But the moment the platform becomes a little bit bigger, the moment it starts getting traction, you either have more powerful entities started fucking with it, like the advertisers, politicians, the infrastructure can be pulled out, like GoDaddy can ban them, or they can get in trouble with Apple. And if that doesn't work, sometimes even the governments can step in and ask other platforms to ban them. And so it's very difficult, right? And when it happened with Twitter, that the richest man in the world bought the platform, I felt like maybe things will be different, especially when I saw him staying up against the ADL and trying to promote free speech and being, I'm not going to have advertisers blackmail me into what is and isn't allowed on the platform. And as long as it's legal, like if the speech is legal, it gets to stay up. And I was like, you know what, like maybe things will change. Maybe we will get the 2000 era internet back. But with recent changes, I don't know, man. I don't know. And this is not about like the recent controversy. This is just like a question of, is this how things are going to move on from here? Because again, as I mentioned, like I'm willing to even lower the definition. I live in the real world. I don't live in an ideal society. I'm looking at what things are now. And so in 2025, can we get a platform that, even if they ban insults and slurs and people being cheeky little shits and trolls and whatever, is it possible for a person that expresses a political opinion in a nice, polite manner to be able to do so without any repercussions? And the answer seems to be no. Right now, there have been like two groups of people that have gotten in trouble on Twitter. The first group that I've seen were people that were attacking Elon Musk personally, bringing his child into the conversation. Like there was a guy that got banned saying, is the reason that your child went trans because you abused him, or something along those lines, And okay, fine, like I get it. You prove that he's a hypocrite, right? Like you went to the guy that advocates about pacifism and you smacked him on the top of his head and then groped his wife. And then when the guy shoved you, were like, see, you're not really for pacifism. You're a hypocrite. It's like, congratulations, you proved that. But again, my question is, like, what about the people that didn't try to be cheeky little shits? Like, what about the people that just expressed a political opinion? And in this situation, they were basically stating they're concerned about the visas. And so it wasn't just that Elon Musk started removing the blue check marks for some, even though like it was never mentioned. And right now, like it's still not within the Twitter guidelines saying that you're not allowed to criticize the visas or you're not allowed to talk anything negative about it. But like some people that did ratio Musk had their blue check marks removed, which means the character limit that they're able to tweet has been lowered. It means that their reach is significantly lowered. And it also means that they don't get money from backers, from people that support them. And so this reminds me of how it started on the old Twitter. The old Twitter was very similar. You had Jack Dorsey that was promoting free speech and saying, hey, if you want to fight the power, you use Twitter. And once a lot of people started using Twitter and once it started gaining traction, the first thing that he did in regards to censorship was to remove the blue check mark from Milo Yiannopoulos. And there were like a lot of talks about it. It's like, why would they remove the check mark? Like, the check mark is supposed to be a verification thing. It's supposed to show that this person is who they claim they are. But they just wanted to test the waters. They wanted to see how people react. And so here you have an individual. I don't know who they are, but like, they're gaining a lot of traction with their posts. This is how censorship starts on every platform, in every avenue throughout history. They deplatform the worst people so that people do not speak out because they don't want to be associated with them. Accounts are being suspended without reason, ability to purchase premium removed, subscribers removed. If you are going to demonetize them, whatever, but to remove subscribers who are individuals choosing to support someone privately is a bad precedent. And this is true, and to me it's shocking how effective it is. Like, every single time you want censorship, you do ban the worst people. And no one will stay up for them. Or you start banning pornography, no one is going to stand up for porn, and then you normalize the concept of banning something. Like for instance, you have world governments right now requiring people to show ID, like requiring people to show identification when they log in the internet to prove that they're over the age of 18. Like what madness is that, right? But if you are against it, it's like, so you want kids to see porn. It's like, no, that's not what I want. I just want to be able to log on the internet without showing ID, right? But again, like, they frame it in such a way so that if you try to be against it, you're viewed as a monster. And here you have Ashley explaining that it's a litmus test for free speech. Is the worst, most vile speech you dislike being allowed? Many of the accounts being censored, penalized right now have engaged in horrible, misogynistic, anti-Semitic attacks against me. Here's another problem with free speech. If you're in America, then you have your own legislation that protects you. But when you use the internet, especially if your platform is supposed to be international, and you're supposed to cover a wide range of countries, certain speech may be illegal in other countries. Like, for instance, sharing a rap limerick can be illegal in the UK. Tweeting things about certain historical events, claiming that they may not have happened, can be illegal in Eastern Europe and many other countries. And so, when you talk about free speech, you don't just have the whims of the person in charge of the platform, the pressure that the NGOs and advertisers are exercising on the platform, certain politicians, like right now Valve is under duress from the American politicians, even though Valve is a private company. But you also have to take into account legislation from other nations. Assuming you want to make money and you want your platform to be able to exist in Brazil, well, you gotta censor based on what Brazil wants. So, like, censorship on the internet, a lot of people don't understand just how complex the industrial censorship apparatus is. And they don't understand how, like, certain things may be okay in one country and they may not be okay in another. Perfect example with this is the new game from China, Marvel. If you go on Steam, it's free to play. And Asmongold made a video showing how if you go in that game and you say free Hong Kong, it's considered sensitive content. Like, you can't post it. They will say that it's content that's inciting harassment or some bullshit. It's because, and a lot of people were laughing at China for it. And I'm like, well, how is it different than a game that's made in the United States where you can't say Trump? I think like EA Games made it. Like, you couldn't create an account with the name Kyle Rittenhouse because it was offensive. Like, I'm sorry, you just disagree with the censorship, but like the concept of a video game censoring thing, that's American now. That is part of the American culture. American companies are engaging in it. They're doing it. And so this is what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to have a platform on the internet that is what the internet used to be back in 2000 or early 2010. I think that time is gone. And so what I think is going to happen is people are going to have various presences on different platforms. And if you want to shit talk Elon Musk, you're not going to be able to do it on Twitter. You're going to have to do it on YouTube. And if you want to talk about LGBT issues in a negative light, you can do it on Twitter. Unfortunately, I think this is what the future is like. It's like you're going to have to chase your content creator on various platforms in order to get the entirety of their opinions. Or if it's someone extremely popular like Joe Rogan, I think like that person doesn't give a fuck and can say whatever they want. And by the way, like here's another issue. It's not that it's like the companies against the people when it comes to censorship. No, the people themselves, they want to be censored, or the people themselves justify what's happening. Like you have this individual, I don't know who they are, I've got nothing wrong against them, but like respectfully disagree. The freedom of speech is still there. It's not handing them money for it. The X also is far from perfect, but not rewarding hate by incentivizing it with money seems the fair approach. So like, we have this Romanian expression, unless the knife is at the bone, like unless the blade of the knife is touching the bone, it's fine. It's fine. Like they don't see it as an incremental thing. They don't see it as like, okay, let's normalize the concept first. Like first we normalize the demonetization, then we normalize shadow banning, then we normalize actually banning the accounts. Like this is what all Twitter did. It's the exact same pattern. Like if you were to take the instruction manual of all Twitter, how they ended up censoring people, that's literally how they did it. Like they started with removing the blue check mark. They moved on to shadow banning. They denied that shadow banning even exists. Later on, they admitted it. They tinkered with the algorithm, and fine, right? And despite the fact that this happened, you still have people saying, no, it's not going to happen. No, this time is different. No, this time is like, I'm sorry, but that's the definition of insanity. So yeah, like regarding Twitter, I do admit, like right now, it's still better than Facebook. Like I can say a lot of stuff on Twitter that I can't say on Facebook. However, I'm not very optimistic. And I'm not optimistic on the internet as a whole. I do think that in 2010, a lot of us were looking at China and were making fun of it for having its firewall, for having strict speech policies. And unfortunately, that's where the West is moving. The European Union is championing the charge, but the United States is there in order to walk the road as well. And yeah, I'm not sure what the future is going to be for Twitter this year, but I'm not very hopeful. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.